Ready to go? All right, going on now.
Continuation of the committee meeting. Resume the meeting.
So moved, Mr Chairman.
Yep, well, please. We're going to resume the meeting from yesterday. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move that.
Seconded.
Yeah, I'll be happy
Councillor
to
Mover.
second.
Everybody in favour? Motion's moved.
Carried.
Carried, moved. You know, councillor, it makes absolutely no difference whether you say carried or moved.
Well, they're two
Thank
different
you.
things if you really want to.
We're on our way. Livingstone Shire Council's meeting procedures. Council Appointment Committee. Can I have a
Move
mover,
that
please?
again.
Thank you, Councillor Walcott. A seconder?
Happy to second.
Slow. I think Councillor Friend wishes to the post. Move to second. Okay, we're going to carry on from yesterday's meeting as... Didn't I late? All those in favour? Thank you.
You're not in favour, Councillor?
I went in favour. No, not really.
Thank you, Madam CEO.
Not really. But we are going to carry on at, I think it's 11.5. So that's a reconfigurating of a lot and preliminary approval to include a supplementary table. Hey, Declan. Thanks, mate.
Thank you for preliminary approval for a variation request, which is changing the zoning from emerging community to low density residential. And it's also, in addition to that, reconfiguring the lot 1 and 2, 128 lots, plus 4 lots for drainage and environmental, which is at lot 2 Common Drive. In the next subject site is 19.56 hectares in area with direct frontage to Common Drive and the Pineapple Trail corridor. It's also mapped within the local and state vegetation mapping. The site is zoned emerging community, and within that has a minimum lot size of 10 hectares per lot with a minimum 200 metres per lot frontage. The site's outside the priority infrastructure area. An overview of the locality plan within the area. To the north of the east is low density residential zoning, and to the south is medium residential zoning, and to the west rural. In the next slide we have the plan of development that's being proposed, which will be carried out in 2 stages. Stage 1 is lot 1 to lot 72, and stage 2 is lot 73 to 128. And then including in stage 1 will be the dedication of 4 environmental lots, which is conditioned as part of this approval. The lot sizes range between 600 square metres up to 1,000 square metres plus, which will be in accordance with the low density residential zone minimum lot size requirements and frontage requirements. Within this development layout, it's included a pedestrian access entrance to the Capricorn Coast Pineapple rail trail. And as part of this development, we'll also include a bridge overpass between Common Drive and the existing Pineapple rail trail, which is to the west of the layout there, for pedestrian access. Is there a it was, yeah, I'll just show you where that is. So that'll just be the entrance here, just for context. And yeah, as part of the development, all services are connected. And there'll be trunk infrastructure items as part of this development, which are Common Drive, intersection of Common Drive, and the Adelaide Park Road water main upgrade, which is part of the entry payment condition. In the next slide, it's the perspective of the Pineapple Rail Trail. This is just to show context in regards to where those lots that adjoin the Pineapple Rail Trail. In regards to the setbacks of this, currently it's 6.5 metres from the lots to the actual rear boundary, and then another minimum 6.5 metres within the road reserve to the actual footpath itself, which is shown in the bottom left corner of this slide here. And then on top of that, there'll be, as part of the low density residential zoning, we'll have minimum setback requirements for any future buildings or structures in that regard. In the next slide, we have some of the key assessment considerations, which are pretty much just going through the zoning, that it's an impact assessable application, the staging, that all lots will be connected to reticulated infrastructure, that there'll be connectivity between the development and the actual pineapple trail, have provided reports and then which have been conditioned to comply as part of the 7 properly made submissions and 14 not properly made submissions. And then in summary, officers can support the development based on the zoning overlays and relevant reports addressing the strategic framework and development codes of the planning scheme and public concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Declan. Now, I've got a question from Councillor Walker.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Just got 3 questions. The first one is relating to the Condren Drive access. You mentioned that there's a bridge overpass. Does the rail trail, does that get broken up at all? Can you explain that bridge overpass?
Yeah, through the chair. So the actual trail goes over. So the pedestrians walk over the bridge.
The pedestrians will go over the bridge and the cars are going to go under, I assume?
Correct.
Right.
So the rail trail will continue. It won't be unbroken, but it will have a raised part.
You'll have a raised path. Okay, right, thank you. And the nature strip between the rail trail and the closest residence, is that 6.5 metres?
That's just in regards to giving context of visual amenity impacts, which is, we bring that back on the slide. So where that blue is, where the lots are.
Blue, yep.
Maybe if we just go back to the plan development. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the green part here, that's from these lots to this red line, is 6.5 metre setback.
So there's a bit of there's a bit of greenery going on. What are people going to see on the rail trail? Are they going to see houses? Or are they going to see that bushland?
It's elevated because on the next slide.
Well, normally it's the fence line first. They won't come in
Yeah, so
contact with the houses direct. But
Yeah,
that's the
so-
fence line.
It's 6.5. The gap here is 6.5 metres all the way along.
Between the road and the
Between the road and the fence line.
and the fence.
Yeah, between the
So 6.5.
sorry, between the lots and the fence line boundary. And then on top of that, there's another 6.5 metres separation as a minimum. And that varies between 6.5 and it goes upwards,
Okay.
depending on where you are in the location along this boundary.
Right.
And then when you go to build a house or a structure, it will be subject to further setbacks. So
Okay.
they won't be building
Close to the trail.
right on
On the
this,
rail trail.
they'll have to set it back in
Yeah.
accordance with the low density residential requirements.
But the fence line is like the 6.5 upwards.
Um,
You could start at 6.5 the fence line.
Yeah, so the fence could start right on that boundary. And then
Right on the boundary of how far from the rail trail?
as 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah,
Sure.
the actual buildings and structures won't be
Yep.
set back there.
Yep.
And that varies, so that's just a minimum, and that's pretty much 6.5 metres here. In regards to, see how steep that is?
Yeah.
So all this vegetation is within Council's Road Reserve, and it goes upwards like that. They are doing some earthworks, as you can see along here, but they can't do earthworks within this area. So the vegetation, it's just to give context in regards to, as this was a properly made concern as part of public notification, give context in regards to like how much that's actually set back.
Declan, the blue.
Can I just ask one more question? That's all.
Sorry.
The third question is, Mr. Chair, it is in the content of my question is raised in confidential, but it does pertain to this application. Yeah, what happens there?
I wonder if it's the same thing I just spoke to the officer about. Well, we could go into confidential, but that'd be
To have a conversation.
to have a conversation. I think we probably should on this. So
Before we do, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, may I ask one administrative question?
absolutely.
So just before we do,
Sure.
thank you. The administrative question is just to clarify, are we actually voting on this today, or are we voting to send it through to the ordinary council meeting? Because it just notes officer's recommendation, recommendation A, B. It doesn't actually say that committee recommends to send to council's ordinary meeting.
I thought it went to the committee, to the ordinary meeting.
Recommendation A is the committee recommends to council to resolve to approve the application.
So it's a resolution.
What does it say that, sorry?
Recommendation A.
Yeah, looking at that, in relation to the,
It says, the committee recommends to council to resolve to approve the application. So that recommends to council.
Where does it say that? I'm sorry.
Do they,
Recommendation A.
Fifth line.
Fifth line, so it's in there.
Yeah, recommendation C
Ah.
says the committee recommends to council.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So it's just down within that paragraph. Okay, I didn't see that. Thank you for clarifying.
so is it the council being not getting away from your, we're back on the administrative question. When we refer to the council, does it mean the committee or does it mean the council as in the general meeting?
So this committee is...
Can be either.
Yeah, so this committee is recommending to the general meeting
Okay.
for it to be approved.
On the
general meeting.
19th,
Yeah.
yes.
So we
Thank
don't
you.
have to make a decision
Well, thank you.
today.
Thanks, councillors.
Councillor,
Can I have a,
Councillor Walcon's question is still outstanding.
that's what, no, it can't be answered. We're actually going to go into confidential. So would anyone like to move?
Certainly, Mr Chairman.
So move Councillor May, the second of Councillor Walcon. Thank you. Can you just let us know, all those in favour, sorry? Yeah, thank you. Now, we have a motion to lay on the table, and that's going to be, that's item 11, and we've got a mover, procedural.
Okay.
Okay, now, I believe we're going to 11.7, so councillors, that is on page 473, and that's the community.
I am here, but I think that, again,
Thanks, councillor.
Thanks.
So, sorry, Mike.
Sorry,
No, that's
sorry.
okay. No, of
Just trying to
course.
find it.
All right.
so we've got all the stats here for development assessment, built environment, growth management, NRM, natural resource management, development engineering, disaster management, local laws, public environments, all of them. So again, many customer requests being resolved despite the significant increase. So really impressive. Local law, it's an indication that people were engaged. And we continue to see increases in registrations of new dogs and new cats, unfortunately. And then the pest flora as well, which is a continued battle. Lots of vegetation management going on. You can see the increase there as well as consistent work in beach rehab. And then a few more flying foxes being taken. Continuing, as you know, we're without it. So the team there are doing really well at keeping up with that community expectation whilst we're a team member down. A number of training, they've been visiting schools. I know they had the scouts with them last week. So continue to do that education because, as you know,
The coordinator, who was the coordinator last time? We had expressions out there.
yes, we've done the recruitment and the interviews, and we're just going through the final stages. now. Reference checks are occurring.
Okay, so you've got some candidates there that are suitable? Yeah, sounds good. Through the,
So through the chair, just to add
Please.
to Molly's commentary, a bit of good news, I guess, in that the de-section program that we spoke about a little while ago, we've had about an uptake of around 60 vouchers so far, and of those 60 vouchers, I think 51 at last check have been used. So we're going to put another campaign out to say grant from floor floors when they closed at $30,000, and that money was to be put towards a de-section program. We haven't put any major parameters around it other than you need to be a resident of the Shire, the animal history microchips, and so forth.
and you've never had it before or something like that?
The rationale is that if we can reduce the relation.
That's a great outcome, by the way, in relation to the initiative for desexing. That's so important to keep the unwanted population. They're calmer, and so it's a good thing. Now, I'm just looking at the pest management under plants, and I see a great reduction in a number of requests. And just wondering, are we getting on top of some of these pest plants?
I don't want to sound too negative, but we'll never get that previously. So.
Sure. Thank you.
Mr Chairman. Lance, will you go next?
You're right.
Okay. Else. So, are we getting on top of it? No. Are we keeping ahead of it? No. And I think we've got, so the sooner we can jump on that. And it loves fire. And I know roadsides, it's like, talk about Byfield and have we got vegetation?
One of those is the page 474 regarding the parking infringements issue by September 92. Things not.
Yes.
What a great lead-in for the next agenda item, being parking arrangements. It's about the 3G, so that's why. So we're not able to enforce like we were enforcing. We'll be working on those numbers.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I just got one more question. That's all right. The other point was the beach driving infringements, going 78 to 32. Any reasoning behind the rapid reduction? Yeah, and being some of which I thought was on the public.
Higher fines?
In a couple of locations, sorry, it's a little while to catch up.
That's all right.
A couple of locations where we haven't been able to monitor as well as we were previously. Rita Mara, for example, so we've had cameras on Rita Mara up until those stats have dropped. but we're getting a post put in at Reedemar, so that was one of the ones who were getting the majority of the areas, because people know that the signs are there, they know that the cameras are there.
I see.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, that makes sense. But there's a camera coming back up onto Reedemar.
We will, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the post hasn't been installed yet.
So watch this space.
Moved by Councillor Mather, second by Councillor Friend. All in favour? Motion's carried.
And we're obviously hoping to deal with this matter operationally. You might recall I brought to the table a couple of that still hasn't been implemented. I'm almost there over the next couple of weeks, or at least before. They promised this would be before September school holidays. Now they're promising before Christmas. So I hope we presented to you and received 3 quotes from providers that can provide us what we're after. And we're currently reviewing those quotes. So, like I said, that'll go away from sensors and it'll give us the ability to identify our time-regulated parking areas. Officers will be able to drive around with the devices and capture cars that have stayed over the allocated time and issue on-the-spot fines, or come back to the safety of their office and then issue the fines that way.
Through the chair, I have a question. That information and service.
Yeah. So the digital chalk, as you know, we're quite used to the manual chalk. Officers go out and mark the tyres one by one. A device within the car that will drive along and take photographs of all the bays and the cars that are parked. It'll capture the bay number, it'll capture the number plate of the car, it'll capture the type and make and model of the vehicle that's there. Go back to the office or go out and do their controls, come back once the time's been exhausted. So most of our areas 2 or 3 hours. So 2 or 3 hours later, they'll come back, do another run by these parks, and it'll capture the vehicles that are overstayed. Essential devices that they task. Question, Councillor, the second question.
Are the councils within Queensland that may be using that?
There are lots. Our neighbours are using them. We're looking at going a different provider, as you might be a national company at the moment, but we did receive other quotes from other providers as well that are local and the same as the ones that Rockhampton are using. So yeah, we're just reviewing all those quotes and the one that's best for us moving forward.
Thank you.
Questions?
Question.
Just does it save our officers' time? This new system?
Most definitely, it would
So
say.
they're I don't know, they're a 2-hour park, but they're over by 50. What's the word? Is it
Discretion.
discretion? Is it? Yes. Well, it's kind of like are they pinned right on 2 hours? How does that work?
So currently,
Anyway, that's
so
it.
currently with how the system's working with the pay, I'll use the paid parking as an example.
Yeah.
We allow a 10-minute buffer.
Yeah.
So that allows people like, well, it's expired, and show as an overstay until that time limit is reached too. And obviously if someone there was there for 10 minutes and 30 seconds, doesn't mean we're going to issue a fine as well. So we might issue the fine, then it might get reviewed, and you'd look at it then as well.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
There's some of the systems are a bit tricky, and the actual timed one was one of those ones. So it just showed that it was an overstay, and the officers couldn't see whether it was a minute over or an hour. That's right.
It leaves out the human element out of it, so that's probably what it is.
And this particular system would be a little bit different again, because we're not capturing when they first parked there. So the sensors were great. So as soon as you drove into the car park, bang, the sensor realised you were there. We're only going to realise they've parked once we've done that drive-by and captured the camera footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the sensors had benefits over the system we're looking at, but they also had their cons as well. So.
Thanks.
Question, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Councillor.
No, don't specific at the time, because they've gone, cars are gone, and we've lost the evidence, sort of thing. But there seems to be some suggestion that people are parking in disabled zones, and yet there is no sticker on the vehicle. Do we pay sort of particular attention to those?
Most definitely. You may recall, as part of the local law review, we're proposing to increase the penalty amount for parking in before penalty units, if that gets adopted.
What's a penalty unit now?
$184.
184, would you?
Right, so I can't tell you about $62, but that'll be, if that gets endorsed by you guys, and we get the green light for that to go ahead,
So $184, you said, that's a point for?
times 4. Currently it's 0.4.
It's a 0.4, yeah.
So about 736.
Then whether it is a car that is what's the word, like a
Approved.
approved.
And disabled bay, they would just walk around the front. If it's got the sign there, the parking permit to say they're allowed to be there, obviously you won't issue the fine.
Right. So that part of it's still manual.
We can still do that manually, that's right.
Yeah, but there's nothing electronically that picks that up.
Well, I don't believe so, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You have to have it captured in the number plate technology.
The all accessibility, group that number plates are registered and it follows up the council system sort of.
Yeah, from car to car, it's not specifically linked to your number plate. My father, for example, he's an amputee, so he can take his sticker whichever vehicle he's in, be a work car, or so it couldn't be captured through any sort of number plate recognition.
Now, when are you bringing that proposal to raise it to 4?
That's part of the local review.
Review, okay. Because you're looking at going from, and I don't feel lenient towards these naughty people, going from 184 to 736.
Well, it's 64 to 700 currently, but in the proposal, it'll be the full penalty units.
736
Mhm.
people to make sure that they've got a place to park. Yeah.
One of the positives of the time saved with this new system means some of those manual activities, like checking for the placard and things like that, the staff will have an ability to do more of because they're not
Yeah.
doing the
Me. So when those with a disability ticket or sticker within their car or any vehicle, the fines, will our council put out any media about that to say remember to take your sticker with you? Remember to display your sticker.
Remember to get a sticker.
We'll have lots of comments that we'll have to do as part of the local law. And remember, if you are eligible, you do have a sticker and you just basically forget to put the permit on the dash, that will be captured through a review process. So you'd send a photo evidence that you do have that, and yet, whatever reason it fell down or you forgot to do it, the ticket would be waived.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we're actually...
Move the recommendation, Mr.
The
Chairman.
recommendations of the report we received, and there's contents noted for the matters to be dealt with operationally. So do I have a mover?
I just moved it, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I didn't see you. Councillor Walcott and seconded Councillor Friend. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to 11.9, the Killy Bay Management Plan.
Thanks, Matt.
Killy Bay Main Beach Access. Now, councillors, similar to an item yesterday, I am going to note that I have a perceived conflict of interest, even though I believe that I have no declarable conflict of interest. I'm going to bring it to the table to vote. There's nothing more amongst the community that I can gain or lose than the average person in the community. So
What's your conflict, Mr. Chairman?
I just live in Killy Bay. That's it.
Oh,
And,
just because you live there.
Yep.
So, Mr. Chairman, are you wanting to take that to a vote?
I wanted to take that to a vote.
And yourself as a chairman get to vote as well?
I don't believe I get to vote on it because I'm actually...
Today, and hypothetically, 3 of us say, well, you don't have a conflict, but it's actually not passed because it is
no
not.
problem. That's a
we-
very...
Well, there are 4
Because
present.
I can't vote.
No, that's right, so there won't be a quorum
It
for
talks
us to
about
vote.
4 present. I think the local laws, a quorum is blood, so half plus 1.
We have a quorum of 4
Yeah,
today,
for the meeting.
but for
You're
the
in the meeting, we
voting-
still have a majority
majority of those present.
that's present. And we have a quorum present.
So we can do the meeting because we have the quorum of 4.
Yep.
In this particular vote, we have a quorum, however, one can't vote, so we need to go with the majority vote.
In fact,
Which would be
if I left the meeting, then we wouldn't have a quorum. That's another point, isn't it?
Well, that's right, we don't have a quorum
Well,
if
if
you're
you're putting
not
it to the table.
voting. We need a quorum to
I'm pretty
vote.
sure that when I read that local law, that it states that we have to have a quorum,
Which is
Yes.
the four,
which is the
Which is the four
which
of
is the
us.
full present.
And
I've read that.
and also being in a standing committee through the chair, and not an ordinary meeting, if there was even 6 of us here, because the mayor's on holidays, if there were 6 of us here and we had a 3-3 vote, I have since learnt that the chair of a standing committee doesn't have the deciding vote. So then it would actually, anything like that automatically goes to an ordinary meeting.
I would think that because there is no decision to be made, I think that even though that is the case, I would be with us still cutting 3 to be able to vote on that.
The recommendation council meeting next year is part of the budget
Oh,
deliberations.
Yeah.
we're talking mainly about
Your perceived
It says here on loss of quorum that in the event that one or more councillors leave a meeting due to a prescribed or declarable conflict of interest in a matter which results in the loss of a quorum for deciding the matter, council must resolve to delegate the consideration decision on the matter, A, B, defer the matter to a later meeting, or C, not to decide the matter and take no further action in relation to the matter.
What was the first one that
I really wish I hadn't done it up.
Delegate
No,
consideration.
it's really important.
It does cover in the loss of a quorum, which if you weren't in it, we are a loss of a quorum.
That's correct.
And the quorum is 4, and it advises that we either, in this matter, does B or C, and that is defer the matter to a later meeting, or not to decide the matter, and take no further action in relation to the matter.
Okay, so that leads the chair to ask a question. If this wasn't to go ahead today, and just went straight to the council meeting, would that cause any issues,
Concerns?
any concerns?
to lay it on the table, because you've just, we were going to vote about your perceived conflict, and it's been very rare that Livingstone Shire Council has been in this.
We're following the process which says if there's a concern about a conflict, then we must do A, B or C of interest. There is a perceived conflict of interest, that means we lose the quorum, therefore we have to put it on to another meeting. So we might not even need to vote because we're following the process that it must then go. So the next meeting.
As chair, I'm happy with that.
Yes, I'm happy with that.
Makes sense to you, CEO?
Yeah. It does say in the meeting procedure, deciding the matter, council must resolve to A, B, defer the matter to a later meeting, or C, not decide the matter and take no further.
Can't vote and then we
You can just not decide to not do it, just take it off.
And we can all resolve to do that because it's not about your particular conflict, it's about we're following the process.
Perceived conflict.
Procedures, we resolve to actually take no further action and just move it to the next meeting.
Fantastic.
That's a smart
Wow.
move, okay?
Yeah,
This is-
just, but for the,
I'm happy to make some inquiries and
Yeah,
follow up
yeah,
in
yeah.
these rare circumstances in which this would happen.
well, if it's going to happen, it'll happen here.
Like councillor made, motion's carried. Next, which is the shoreline erosion.
Councillors, shoreline suggested we do further strategic is the beach that has the sandbag wall on it. So it has been identified as an erosion problem. South of the existing sandbag wall in that location, and there's also, I guess, some aspects of erosion. So it's Operations Beach. This one is a little bit more expensive than other ones that we have looked at in recent times, mainly because it does have advice and potentially some measurements taken or some remote sensing information obtained to assist $140,000 estimated for this one.
We need to get some costs for that, at least, because it's going to be expensive too, 3 years. Yes. 3 years. The areas that we're talking about now, is that fronting the houses or is it further down?
Yeah, been built on.
Okay. Continuing that question, Mr. Chair, have these people who did not contribute, if they haven't contributed before, should they be contributing now? Because that was part and parcel of the discussions we had back then. And they took out a loan over X amount of years. to pay us back for the work that was carried out. Some people, if I remember correctly, people who've not contributed before.
Address both the existing wall as well as areas not
Well, I think, yeah,
covered by the wall. So, I mean, there is a lot upgraded in any way. So this plan will help council plan for that eventuality as well.
yes.
And if it recommended that it should be extended, then council would need to engage with those landowners who don't have it currently.
Yes, and if, I don't know where they are with those repayments, whether it's all been completed, like water charges to have water put on their properties. Because if we need to put more money out to protect those homes, we need to know where the liability lies. Because I mean, who doesn't want a beach frontage? You know?
Correct. So that
So there might be a
visual's
little
been
bit
in
of legal
place for
advice on
10
that one.
years. I
Yeah.
don't know about the benefits.
I don't know what the time limit was, but it would be agreed upon by the landowners what they are prepared to pay over what period of time.
As well, like vegetation replanting, and stormwater management, as we've seen on a number of our beaches, is another aspect. So I think this plan, whether it needs to be extended, what vegetation enhancement should be provided, so it gives council that.
Fearful of losing their homes.
It's quite a flat beach, you know,
Yes.
which means that the ocean can come in quite far. When we have a big wild storm event or a really high tide, so yes, they are a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, they are.
Particular beach.
Okay, I guess that's what, they're the benefits, Mr Chairman, of living on the coast. We've got a long coastline.
Estimate wall, how's it holding up? What's going on with the actual wall? It's been there for quite a number of years now after the cyclone. Was it installed in 2016?
2014
14.
is my record, yes.
14.
So I'm not directly involved with the repairs that take place, so the infrastructure department undertakes those. But when we have those big high tides or high storm events, we've seen the toe of the wall uncovered, and also some of the opportunity to then bring sand back up to cover that exposed bad wall.
Yes.
So that's been done.
The Coastal Councils Forum, and there was something that happened in, I'm not sure if it was Bundaberg or Fraser Coast, in relation to the amount of money it cost that particular council to rejuvenate a beach by pumping more sand onto it. So in actual fact, this money that we need to be able to put away for this foreshore plan for Muskers Beach, a management plan for Muskers Beach, will help us not spend as much as that other council has had done. Do you have any further information?
Sand pump, the Gold Coast City Council, sand pumps continually out from due to the sand pumping, but it's been very, very, very expensive. They had some major issues. Little Kira Groin has disappeared, it's been taken away, but the large Kira Groin is still there to some extent, even though they took the end off it. And what they found was by making these groins, it fixed this, it helped hold sand there, but developed problems further up the coast with beaches disappearing. So sometimes every action is a reaction, so you do. I don't know if that really helped. But
No, but what I'm
sand
saying
pumping
is this.
very expensive.
Yeah, so it's very expensive, and so this particular foreshore management plan is going to help us
Absolutely.
and set us up for, to be able to deal with these things.
Question to Lisa. Because this fronts private property, at some stage there's been no mention here about public consultation. So maybe we need to include something in there.
There is a reference in the conclusion, councillor, just
That's
to
it.
say it provides an opportunity for genuine community input to future management through a fair and facilitated process. So absolutely, we would need to
Yeah, I think
consult
rather
those
than
residents.
community input, I think, yeah, we need to orchestrate something to pull them in to discuss it so they all have the same information at the same time. So that while we're thinking in the background how we're going to deal with this financially and physically.
Thank you. Any more questions?
No, Mr Chairman.
And the recommendation, councillors, is up on the board there. The committee recommends to council the following operational plan outcome be considered for the 2025-26 year, along with a beach profile monitoring program and a vegetation plan for the foreshore. Do we have a mover?
I'll move it, Mr Chairman, as long as we put the article in, or a section in that we're going to be discussing it with the landowners effectively.
You're either moving it or you're not, councillor, not.
Well, I won't do it if I don't have that bit in.
You want that added?
Yes, please.
Can we do that?
Yes, we can. We can do anything.
So you can put, for that, develop a shoreline erosion management plan specific, incorporating a beach profile monitoring program.
And councillors, if you can all have a look at that and see if you're happy with it.
I'm happy with it. I can hear the words.
So we'll move that, councillor Maynard, and a seconder, councillor Friend. All in favour? Motions. You in favour, councillor Walker?
I'm not in favour with the word extensive community consultation. I'm not too sure what that looks like, where Councillor Mather was speaking about the actual residents along that, and we're looking at community consultation. How wide are we going with this community consultation when we're referring to those residents?
Yeah.
That's what was the point, but when I read that,
Sure.
So when, as part of the process, sorry, Councillor Freeman, as part of the process, you'll see the engagement plan, and that will, so when we get to the point where we have budget discussion and if the amount was approved to start developing the plan, the next thing that would happen is Lisa and her team will come back to the table, say, here's our engagement plan to grow, what about the landholders? So this is just putting in there that community consultation will be part of the whole process. And the reason I use the word extensive is because I wanted it not just to be for the landholders, but broader. So in terms of the coastal engineering, that's part of our community consultation, all the stakeholders that could be participating. But we could remove the word extensive and then have just community consultation as part of the process. And that will still come back to you guys to review to see if it's too wide, too narrow.
I would be happy with the removal of the word extensive.
How does that go? We've already had the vote.
No, we
You haven't called.
there were 3 for and one against.
Yeah.
So it just automatically then would go to the council meeting anyway.
Then you get to vote for it again then.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
This is
So-
really good.
motion's carried.
I should have done that prior.
Motion's not carried.
That's all right.
Is that what happens? No, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
Motion's not carried.
Something like this.
So there were 3
consultation
for,
is always important.
1 against, no.
Oh, no, you don't. The quorum-
You need-
The quorum's there.
There's a quorum.
We've
There's
got
a
the
quorum,
quorum and
just
then you need the majority of the quorum to carry.
Thank you
So it
very
has
much.
carried.
Yes.
Then it goes to the ordinary council meeting
Yep.
where it can be discussed
you.
and changed.
Thank you. I've never seen this happen before.
It's good learning for Christine.
It is.
So urgent business
Urgent
and
business.
confidential.
We've got confidential, but urgent business, I
To ring
haven't had a look at this yet.
You rang this
What
morning.
In Billawheeler.
Okay, councillor, so we've got an urgent business item. You should have all received, is it the committee exercises its delegation under section 257C of the Local Government Act 2024, held in Billawheeler. That must be very close, councillor.
It's next week.
Next week.
Mr Chair, I'll move that and speak to it.
Excellent, so we're going to move councillor Friend. She's going to speak to it, and after that I'll call for the seconder. You put me on the spot there.
We need to resolve something without going to ordinary council.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Thank you, Mr Chairman. And may I just, before I start, just say that the forum is on the 13th and 14th of November.
Okay.
So we received an email with expressions of interest who would like to go to this particular forum that will be held next week on the 13th, 14th of November, and resolution for myself to be a candidate to nominate as a candidate for the LGAQ District 6, I thought is in relation to AUKUS. So it's going to be discussing nuclear-powered submarines, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity and concerns. Why I'm interested in going is that I'm not for nor am I against nuclear-powered submarines. I'm not for nor am I against AI, and I'm not for nor am I against cybersecurity nor and the concerns around that. But I am wanting to be informed so that I just think it was a good opportunity to actually find out more. And when I found out that there was no further in our region at this stage, and so because it's out of town, it needed to have a resolution. And now the accommodation says 2 nights, but it's actually will be 1 night, because I've since found out that this forum finishes at 3 p.m. Registration's free. So the costs are there, but certainly there's a number of keynote speakers that I think that would be of great interest, and being part of Central Queensland, ask for your support, councillors, to allow me to go to this this forum next week. And at this stage, my husband only thinks it's 1 day, so I'll have to inform him that it's 2. Yes, I do ask for your...
Did we receive notification of this?
We did. We had an email, councillor. In fact, I actually...
Because I can't record it, that's all.
I was actually... I've got a particular interest in this stuff myself, and would love to have gone, but I've actually got something on the Thursday, the 14th, which prevented me from. But yeah, we certainly did receive notification.
As long as we've got a quorum, we should be right. That's all right, thank you.
Anybody else?
Beneficial for Councillor Friend to attend is there's going to be some defence industry leaders that'll be present, and I think that in terms of its relevance with Shoalwater Bay and the Livingstone Shire space that we are in, I think that might be quite integral. Councillor Friend to maybe connect a few relationships there, and to see where that might be able to lead, and bring that back to the table in terms of opportunities that may present for us in the future. So on that basis.
For this, like I said, like I started, I would love to have gone myself. I always find that things like this, especially if there's no charge, we take up these opportunities, particularly being not too far to travel. So.
Thank you. And Mr Chair, may we please change that to AUKUS Forum 13? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And just in closing, Mr Chair, I would like to thank you that I will then pass on the information to you, my fellow councillors, in the form of an email when I return.
Thank you. Okay, councillors, so we've got a mover, Councillor Friend, seconded by myself. All in favour? Motion's carried.
Thank you, councillors.
Thank you. So, councillors, that concludes our confidential. We can just move up to move into confidential. Yep, we've got Councillor Walk-on, seconded by Councillor Mather. All in favour? Carried. Okay, councillors, we're back in the ordinary session. Okay, so we've got a couple of reports that have come up under confidential over part of lot 24 RP 612, my eyes are going well, 2563 and lot 1 RP 6127, a little bit long to read. You can cast your eyes over that, councillors. And let me know when you're satisfied. May anybody like to speak on the motion?
No, thank you.
All in favour? Motion's carried. Go to the next resolution, item 15.2. Request for council's views, renewal of term lease over lot 84, CPL 1314. And the resolution, still quite satisfied?
Yes.
Okay, got a move for councillor Friend, second by councillor Walk-on. Anybody like to speak to the motion? No, thank you. Let's go to the vote. All in favour? Thank you. The motion is carried. And councillors...
Before you close it, Mr Chairman,
Yes, councillor.
can I ask through you if our acting CEO can find the source of that misinformation to the ABC, because I have a feeling there's something very serious behind it all.
I don't think that needs to be in the meeting, councillor. So let's just
Well,
close
it was
the...
raised in the meeting, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, in confidential.
Raised in
Yeah, okay.
So I think
But we didn't